Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from Amanda Crochets, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this quick and easy Bedtime Dreams Baby Blanket. This blanket measures approximately 30 inches across by 33 inches long. However, you can always change up the yarn for this blanket and using any size weight yarn or any color, and you can also make this blanket as small or as big as you would like. So let's begin today's tutorial making the Bedtime Dreams Baby Blanket. So I wanted to give you a close-up of this stitch, and this stitch is very similar to a few other stitches that I made with the side shell stitch almost. So I really like this. This is just a different version of that. And as you can see, it's a really pretty stitch, and it's a 1-row repeat. So it's something that once you get the hang of it, you can just recreate it row after row and not have to think too much about it. So this is what it looks like up close. For today's tutorial, you're going to need 4 skeins of the Premier Anti-Pilling Everyday DK, and this skein is 273 yards, 250 meters, 3.5 ounces or 100 grams. It is 100% anti-pilling acrylic, so that means when you wash any item using this yarn, it will look like new wash after wash. This is a number 3 lightweight yarn, and the recommended hook size is a US G6 or 4 millimeter. It's also machine wash warm, tumble dry normal. And the color I'm using today is called cream, so you're going to need 4 skeins of this color. This is all that is left of your 4th skein, so you're going to use maybe about half of it or so. So if you want to use a different color, you are more than welcome to do that as well. And then for our crochet hook, I am bumping the crochet hook up to an H8 or 5 millimeter crochet hook. So let's begin today's tutorial. Okay, so I'm just going to be using this blue color here. It is the exact same yarn as the cream color. I'm just using the blue so it shows up a little bit better on camera. So for the Bedtime Dreams blanket, you're going to need to make a stitch multiple of 3 plus 1. That means you're going to take the number 3 and multiply it by any number. So say you're going to multiply it by 10. So that's a total of 30 chains. And then you're going to add 1 additional chain to the very end to keep everything in balance. So I'm just going to be making a sample swatch with you. But for my blanket, I did a chain of 121. So that's 3 times 40, which is 120. And then I made 1 additional chain. So again, I made my baby blanket in a chain of 121. If you're just going to be making a small sample like I am today, go ahead and chain 16. So to make a chain, you're going to yarn over your hook and pull through that loop on your hook. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue making your sample swatch of chain 16 or your blanket in the size of 121 chains. Okay, so once you have your 121 chains or your multiple of 3 plus 1, we can begin row 1. For row 1, we're going to be working into the 4th chain from our hook. So that loop on your hook does not count. You're going to count 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in that 4th chain, you're going to make a double crochet. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that 4th chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is your double crochet. You're going to go ahead and chain 2, 1, and 2. And in that same stitch, you're going to make a single crochet. So in that same stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. and that is your single crochet. Next we're going to start our repeat. So we're going to skip 2 chains, and in the stitch after that we're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet, all into that same chain. So skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in the chain after that make 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2, make 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in that same chain space make a single crochet. Okay, and then we're going to repeat this all the way across. So skip 2 chains, and in the chain after that make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2, 1 and 2, and in that same chain space make a single crochet. And you're just going to repeat this all the way across. So skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and the chain after that make 2 double crochets, chain 2, and in that same space make a single crochet. Okay, when you get to the end of your row, you're going to have 3 chains remaining, and you're just going to do the exact same thing. So skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in that very last chain you're going to do the same thing you've been doing, which is the 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet. And here is what your first row is going to look like. So like I said, it's kind of like that slanted shell stitch that I did before. This is just a different version of that stitch. Okay, so to move on to row 2, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And the chain 3 in this pattern is going to count as your first double crochet. So we're going to be working in the chain 2 spaces across our row. So if you pull your work apart a little bit, you could see that chain 2 space right here. So again, that chain 3 counts as your double crochet. In that very first chain 2 space, we're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So working in that first chain 2 space, you're going to make a double crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all into that chain 2 space. Okay, we're going to start our repeats. So we're going to work into the next chain 2 space, so right here, and we're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet. So find that chain 2 space and work your double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2, and single crochet, all into that same chain 2 space. So we're not going to be working in any of the stitches. We're going to skip all of those stitches and only work in the chain 2 spaces. So find your next chain 2 space and work 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet. Find your next chain 2 space, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, when you get to the end, you're going to have one more chain 2 space left. So continue working your 2 double crochets, chain 2, and single crochet. So here's what your work is going to look like, and your shell stitches are going to offset a little bit. So here's your first row, and then here's your second row. So it's going to be on a little bit of a diagonal. So it's a very pretty stitch, and when you get to the end, you're just going to repeat row 2 for the pattern. So for row 3, you're going to chain up 3 and turn. You're going to find that very first chain 2 space, and you're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 2, single crochet into that same chain 2 space. For all other chain 2 spaces across, you're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet. So I'll show you one more time. Find that next chain 2 space, make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2, and in that same chain 2 space, make a single crochet. Find your next chain 2 space and make 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet. In the next chain 2 space, make 2 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet. And you're just going to repeat that across your entire blanket, and then when you get to the very end, you're going to have 1 chain 2 space left, and you're just going to continue with the pattern. And then with the pattern, it's actually going to form, because you have that chain 3, it's going to form a little bit of a scallop on both sides. So because of this, I did not add a border. I just thought the scallop edges looked really nice. So go ahead and repeat row 2 over and over again for the pattern. I'm going to work up my own blanket, and I'll let you know how many rows I ended up making, and then I'll show you how to end your blanket and weave in your ends. So again, just repeat row 2 over and over for the pattern. Okay, so here is my baby blanket, and I ended up making 77 rows. Again, if you wanted to make your baby blanket bigger or longer, you're going to increase the number of stitches or the number of chains that you make at the very beginning, and to make your baby blanket longer, you're just going to make more rows. So once you have your 77 rows, you're just going to cut your yarn like I did, and you're going to leave a little bit of a tail. And after you finish that last single crochet, you're going to yarn over and pull through and tighten. Then you're going to get your tapestry needle, and we're going to go ahead and weave in our ends. And this is going to be the same process for all the other yarn ends. And you're just going to get your tapestry needle and go in between these stitches. I like to go in 3 different directions just to really make sure my yarn end is secure. Okay, so now you're going to go in the opposite direction. And one more time, just to really make sure it's secure. Okay, once you feel like it's secure, you're going to get your scissors and you're just going to cut off the remainder and you're done. So I wanted to show you what the ends of the blanket looks like. So again, it looks like it's those little scallops here. And because we did not add a border, it kind of looks the same on the top of the blanket as well. So I really liked how this blanket turned out. Again, you can use a different color. I bet it would look very pretty in a variegated color. Or a solid color if you wanted to make this in a different solid color. But this is the Bedtime Dreams Baby Blanket. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting! Bye!